Basically, I want to introduce myself. My name is James Moore, Oakland native. Been involved with community for almost all my life. I love listening to Bobby Seale talk. I used to be at Infirmary Park when I was a little something, watching the Panther rallies, going to the Free Huey rallies at the Alameda County Courthouse just across the way. It was really endearing to me to listen to the background of Bobby Seale and the Panther Party. So I always wanted to be a member, but I never joined. I was kind of like, man, they got guns. And I never had a gun. I was too young for a gun, quite frankly. But at that time, I really felt the passion of the Panthers. You know, my parents had businesses in West Oakland on 7th Street, San Pablo, and so, you know, our family was just always involved in the community. And so it was just very meaningful to listen to him, Elaine Brown, and of course, Barbara Lee, and all those that are here. So what we're doing in this whole event is really trying to bring our community together. It's critically important that we understand the value of what we're doing. You know, this is Black History Month, but as we all know, Black History Month is more than just the shortest month of the year. It's Black History is before February begins and will be after February ends. So we just have to get connected and stay connected for what we're doing. Now, I know you gentlemen just came in. Thank you for being here. Would you guys like to take a seat? There are some seats available because we want you to be comfortable. We've got a lot of great information that's going to be discussed, and we would like to have your participation. Because the one thing that I knew is all the young people that are here, you are our future. The future of this community, and we need your input. We want to help guide you, but we need you all to be responsible as you take the lead, and some of us folks sit down, you know? So it's important that we have your input. I just want to go back over what this session is all about. It's business, job creation, and workforce development. And we all know that if we don't have businesses, first of all, businesses create the jobs. So if you, all these gentlemen that are here, and ladies, excuse me, my good friend Cynthia Mackey, don't want to diss her. The ladies and gentlemen on this panel, they are either own businesses or in charge of businesses. They are set up to give you information on either how to start a business or help you get a job. Because without that, we're finished. I mean, if we don't have our own businesses, because Mr. Tucker can have a business and can hire somebody. And more than likely, he's going to hire somebody that not only knows technology, but can also be a source to help that individual and that individual's family. And he may be inclined to hire somebody who really needs the job and has the capabilities of doing the work. But, you know, you got to come correct. You got to come with some knowledge. You got to come with some behavior standards. You need to be prepared. So again, you know, in order for our community to survive, we have to have jobs. We got to be prepared for jobs. So this is what this is all about. It's an informative two-pronged workshop, and we'll focus on micro-business development and offer career development guidance in a tough job market as a means of strengthening your economic self-sufficiency and economic vitality in our community. Again, if we standing on the corner, you know, not looking very active or not being active in anything, that's not going to help us. Now, before I get started, before I go any further, I want to introduce my co-moderator, Dr. Kimberly Mayfield Lynch of Holy Names University. Dr. Lynch is the chair of the Educational Department at Holy Names University. She is committed to increasing racial diversity among K through 12 teachers. Her field of education is her whole thing is like, if you go to school, get a job, if you go to school, get an education, there should be a job waiting for you when you get out. I mean, it's like, why get educated and why get trained in something in college, you graduate and there's no jobs. So, you know, we got the thing kind of backwards. So we need to have something set up so when you finish school, you can go right into a job that is designed for the education that you have just received. And that's what her approach is about. Kimberly, raise your hand. This Kimberly Lynn. Give her a round of applause. And before I pass it over to Kimberly so she can introduce this fantastic panel we have, just a little, is everybody's cell phone off or on vibrate? I don't want to hear no ding, 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 ding right in the middle of one of these panels' response to a question. So take a minute. Cell phones on vibrate, cell phones off. Is that done? Okay, the other thing we want to do is that we want to respect each and everybody. I mean, her opinion versus someone else's opinion is unique and, you know, their own. So we're not here to disagree, we're not here to argue, we're here to understand opportunity. This is business opportunity, this is job opportunity. We all coming at it in a different way, in a different style, but at the end of the day, you know, let's have some resources that we can use and count on for ourselves, our family, and our community. Now, at this point, can I introduce myself? I did, okay. I am James Moore. I currently work for Renaissance Entrepreneur Center in San Francisco, and our job is really clear. We're there to help people go into business. If you need to go in business, you know, you need a business plan. You need to have all the essentials set up. That's what we do over there. And also, I'm with an organization that for quite a long time called the African American Business Exchange that I've headed up. And in the past, I've done an annual event called the Kwanzaa Christmas Gift Show at the Oakland Marriott Convention Center. And I have JCM Consulting. That's enough. At this point, I want to turn it over to Kimberly.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So before I introduce the panelists, I want to give you just two pieces of information regarding staying connected to the conversation and the work that will occur today. So in your packet, there's a list of classes that are offered by the Peralta Community College System, and they really want you to avail yourself to take the classes. There's an email for Dr. Thompson if you have any questions. And if there's an area of interest that you don't see, but there are a couple of people who want to take the class and do a workshop, they're willing to create something for you. And the next piece is that we want to encourage everyone to log into Black Link, which the email address is in your packet. So you can also check it out at one of the resource tables today. So the format of today is I'm going to introduce the panelists, and then I will read a question, and James will direct the question to the panelists that he thinks should answer it. So that means all of our panelists have to listen intently because you don't know if the question's going to come to you or not. So I am going to start right in front of me with Jabari Herbert. Jabari is President and CEO of Dignity Housing West, Inc., an Oakland-based community development corporation and developer of affordable and mixed-income housing. Our next panelist is K.G. Charles Harris with Imanio. K.G. Charles Harris is a prominent international entrepreneur and spirited advocate for improving the way people work and connect through technology. Next, we have Cynthia Mackey of Winning Strategies. She is a principal consultant at Winning Strategies, LLC, a digital strategy and online marketing agency focused on social media, web, mobile, and Facebook application development that delivers ROI for clients. Next, we have Eric Moore. Eric Moore is the founder and managing partner of Base Ventures. Eric is a passionate angel investor, entrepreneur, creative thinker, and an unabashed optimist. Next, we have Lynn Turner. Lynn Turner is the CEO of the Turner Group. He has over 20 years of experience with IBM, Microcatum, Dassault Systems, and Disney in sales, marketing, negotiation, and project management. Next to him, we have Art Shanks, who is the Executive Director at Cypress Mandela. And last but certainly not least, we have Frank Tucker, who is the CEO of Tucker Technology, a national telecommunications company that was founded 20 years ago in Oakland, California, and he is the former chair of Oakland's Workforce Board. So can we give our panelists a hand? Okay, the first question. How can our community escalate efforts to establish, develop, and sustain businesses in our community?
All right. That question, that is a very powerful question, because that's a very powerful thing we need to do. You know, we need to create businesses, we need to escalate them, and we need to keep them. So that means that you have to understand technology, you need to have some forethought in terms of where things are going, what are the trends. You know, you don't want to start a business or go into a job that's going to be obsolete in a year or 5 years even. So it's really, you have to have some forward thinking, you got to do some research. Even when you're going to school, you need to think about, okay, what am I going to train myself in that's going to be needed in the next generation? So that question I'm going to give to Mr. Art Shanks. Sir?
Thank you very much.
Why not? I think that, you know, it's something that, and by the way, we want some really, we're going to offer everybody maybe 1 or 2 questions after Mr. Shanks gives his answer, just as follow-up, because we don't have that much time. All right? Mr. Shanks.
I think it's I think what we have to do is re-energize our community, our youth, and our educational system. I think we have to flip that upside down. I think we must train our kids back into basics, and those basics are, construction is one of the things that we're specializing in, and construction wraps around 360 degrees. When you talk about construction, most people think of pick and a shovel. Well, it's not just the pick and the shovel. You're talking about surveyors, you're talking about engineers, you're talking about people that come out and operating multi-million-dollar equipment. So training our kids effectively for these areas, I think just going back to the basics and teaching them the basic math, the English, and biology is very, very critical. And as a community, I think we should wrap around that and make sure that our schools are developing our kids so that they can come out of high school with proficiencies that will matriculate them into jobs that are there and that are available. So if we're talking about developing jobs, what kind of jobs can we develop? Well, if you think about construction, if you look around this room has electrical components in it, it has concrete, you're sitting in seats, you have tabletops. This stuff is never going to go away. When we have a natural disaster or an earthquake or just anything, it has to be rebuilt. When you talk about infrastructure, when you talk about streets, when you talk about roadways, those things have to be redeveloped. If you just think about pavement, going down the street, when you have potholes, how many people hit those potholes when they're going down the street? They need to be repaved, right? Somebody needs to keep those roadways up. So when you think about in terms of jobs, most of our kids today are thinking about high technology, more of the rap, or being really into dollars, or integrating money very quickly. That's not the way you want to look at it. Life is stepping stones of successful steps that you take, not an elevator to success, but stepping stones. We must teach our youth to be energized with steps, taking the proper steps and making sure that they don't go back. And then developing something in the community where we have entrepreneurship, where we don't have to keep going out and asking the government for money, but we have a development inside of that organization where it would keep itself alive, if you will. In other words, you have a factory with components, instead of outsourcing tennis shoes from China here at $3 to make them over there and bring them back here and sell them for $2.50, why don't we have factories here that manufacture those tennis shoes and put kids to work in those manufacturing companies, which we should develop. So when we talk about community wrapping around that, we're talking about us. We see how our kids go out of the house. We see them going to school. Are they appropriate to go to school? Are they learning when they're coming home? Are they watching video games? Or are they doing homework? We are the ones that should be on the forefront of making sure our kids are being revitalized so that they can do something in these communities to be successful.
Thanks very much. All right, give them a round of applause. Now, obviously, we all know there's more than one answer to our solutions, but that's a very good one, because many people shy away from the fact that, you know, the skilled labor force and knowing how to be an electrician, knowing how to be knowing carpentry, all these various skills that are coming out, I think that, and they pay very, very good. I mean, some of these skills with your hands could pay $30, $40, $50 an hour. I think you can make a living off of that. So I think it's very important. Now, did you have a follow-up? You want to comment or a question? Mm-hmm.
I noticed that, well, you had mentioned trends, and I'm looking at, you know, how do you find out what the trends are, say, you know, because I'm sure everyone is looking 5 years ahead or 10 years ahead, so there's a trend that's coming, but also dealing with children and their passion. And how do you
put that
together
right,
where you've got this trend that's coming and you're, especially.
So in other words, green technology, you know, is coming in various forms, but the child wants to be an artist. Who wants to answer that question? How do you put that together? Are you going to take a shot at that?
Not really, but I'll go ahead. I mean, as adults, as leaders, we have to constantly educate our kids from the standpoint that there's the scarcity that we think exists in the world doesn't have to be our reality. There's more than enough. You know, we have to start looking at the world as a place with abundant resources. Kids a lot of times know where the industries are going. A lot of times it's a matter of sort of embracing them and sort of bridging the gaps and making connections and looking to mentor individuals. Clearly, I'm looking at someone, Selma Taylor. She went out of her way to hire me. I was a young kid out of college, interested in trying to do development in the West Oakland community, trying to have a destination place where I could get the black chocolate experience that I heard Oakland was prominent with. That didn't exist when I came here. So I think what's key is we all have to try to make sure we're reaching back to our youth, creating opportunities and looking to be mentored.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, and I want to follow up with Eric, and then after that, we're going to go with Mr. Charles Harris. Eric.
There's no industry that you guys can bring up that is not affected by technology. So you mentioned being an artist. There are so many different things that you can do as an artist and incorporate technology with that and make it viable. So even as an artist, you can, what I do, I invest in tech companies. I invest in tech startups. So you guys have heard of Facebook and LinkedIn and Groupon. I invest in companies like that before they get started, to get them started. And there are kids out there now, 21 years old, that I've invested in, that have ideas about stuff that would blow your mind. And now they're capable of doing it because of what technology is. So and it just goes across every industry. So whoever is in here who's not involved in tech in some way is going to be gone, left behind. Without question, you will be left behind if you're not in some way understanding and learning about tech.
Okay, thanks. Michael, you had a question.
Yeah.
Or comment.
But I agree with the brother. I'm a technology company myself. But one of the things is you mentioned about the classes you have listed here. One of the things we don't know about as far as back to construction, right here, you pass by, everyone you pass by coming here to this class, downstairs, they have a program to teach you how to be a stationary engineer. And does anybody in here know what a stationary engineer is and does? Exactly. But it's a very well-paying job, somewhere close to $100,000 once you get experience in it, and it's taught here as an apprenticeship. I mean, there's a lot of things that are jobs that pay well, that have all kind of skill sets, and even in, like I said, in construction, technology is part of it. Stationary engineering, technology is part of it. If you don't understand the baseline of technology and whatever you do, that entry-level part of the job right now, you have to have a base understanding of technology.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And before, I'm going to go with Charles. He's going to make a comment. We got to move the agenda. We got a lot of questions, and we got a lot of opportunity. But Charles, go ahead.
So I want to hang on to what Art and what Eric was saying. One, construction is everywhere. But as construction is everywhere, construction is also being affected by technology. In the industry where I am working now, I sold my company in 2011. I started a new company that under the same name that is in business analytics. In that area, there are 1.7 million jobs that cannot be filled today. 1.7 million. There's a 6 million unemployment in the United States. We understand that if we get some of those skills, these kids that are working for me right now, 23 years old, I have to pay them 120K because they have some skills. We want to understand what it is that we need to do to be able to work in the world that is coming. Because the world is changing drastically from what we have known to something completely different. And as it is changing, as black people, we cannot allow ourselves to be left behind from what the rest of the world is doing. And that's one of the things. When there's such a high level of jobs that cannot be filled in one particular area in this country, then we need to wonder what it is. And I'm not talking about IT. I'm talking about data analytics.
All right.
IT is in addition to that.
All right, thank you. Kimberly,
Thank
next
you.
question.
So, just before I say the next question, I do want to piggyback on what KG said about jobs that are already here and being prepared for those jobs. And because I'm the chair of an education department, I would be remiss if I didn't say the jobs in education are here, the job of a teacher is here, and we need to make sure that those of you who are in our community who want that job have access to that job so that you're able to work in the community that you live in. So having said that, the next question is, what businesses can we easily start in our community?
All right, what businesses can, now I know many of you right now have had some business ideas, right? Who's got a business idea? Look at it. Just sitting on all that creativity, right? And so those business ideas have to be fleshed out. They need to come out. They need to be tried. You know, if you don't take a step and try it, then it'll never happen. You'll see somebody else doing it. So I'm going to ask my good friend Cynthia Mackey, she knew it was coming, to respond to that. What kind of businesses, respond to that question,
Well,
Cynthia.
I was laughing with KG because he leaned over and said, no business is easy. And so I said, watch me get that question because I agree with that. No business is easy, but if it is you have to tap into a business that is your passion. So if construction is not your passion, but it's a good job, I don't believe you should pursue construction. When the president said the only place I could turn sometimes is to my knees, that will happen to you as an entrepreneur. You have to find out what your passion is and stay driven to meet your passion.
because that's the thing that you can actually preach to the investor. That's the thing that will make you stay up at night. That's the thing that will make you cross country boundaries to find the right team, the right people to help live your passion. My company is small. We're based in Oakland, but I have 15 people throughout the U.S. and 40 people in different countries. I had never gone to different countries when I was an Oakland student. LA was a different country. So for me to learn different cultures, it has expanded my life to the point where I understand what their struggle is, from Canada to Ukraine, to Argentina to Chile. I have people where I feel not only is it my responsibility to take care of myself, their families are depending on me to bring that job in. So it teaches me how to fight, it teaches me how to learn something, and I want to say something, tech is an enabler. Tech is very important as we go to the future, but I promote science, technology, engineering, and math. If you are good at one of those things, tech will enable you to carry it to the next level. And for women, please consider these roles. Women are natural problem solvers. Everyone says I'm smart. I'm not smart, I'm persistent. I don't like that I can't figure something out. And so I will either figure it out or I'll go find somebody to help me figure it out. And for all the young people, I'm really talking to you today. Don't feel like you're challenged by the educational system that you're in. If you have to leave this state or country, you do it. You go get the power. Don't let anyone hold you back from what you feel that you can do. Because I did that and it slowed me down until I started learning from mentors and a lot of other people what to do. So as far as starting businesses here, what I say is look at the thing that you're good at. And it's like a ladder, the rungs of a ladder. So maybe you just need to learn how to run business. Maybe you partner with someone. There was a couple people that raised their hands. Maybe you could collaborate with someone and you can do it together. And if that business doesn't make it, and I'm sure many of the people on this channel will tell you, he just shared how he sold his business. You just build on top of the other. And that's what business is about. So pick something that you feel confident in or you're passionate about. Talk to the people here at this panel. Talk to your teachers. Use LinkedIn. Many of you can use the internet far better than I can. Many of you know, use LinkedIn. Actually try to talk to someone. You will be surprised at who will talk to you, especially if you say, I want to learn about this industry. They might even hire you. So that's what I would say is look at what you're passionate about, and it won't be easy, but don't check out just because you didn't make that $1 million in the first year.
All right, thanks, Cynthia. And I know I've got some questions, but one of the things that I want to just also chime in on the question, what businesses can we easily start in our community? First of all, if you're unemployed and not in school, you can do something. I mean, there are folks that's cutting grass, washing windows, cleaning house, and doing a variety of things that, you just have to get up and go about yourself. It just does not, in my view, make any sense for anybody to be sitting home doing nothing when there are jobs that can be done. Now, granted, there are people that's out there doing some of the basic things and making money, making cash every day. And I don't see why many other people, particularly people of color, is not doing the same thing versus standing on corners. That's just me. All right, who had a question? Was there a question right here? All right, a comment.
Question / comment. I came today hoping to learn more about social entrepreneurship. And I love the fact that you brought up following your passion, and that's something I strongly believe in. And I love being dedicated and working with the youth. So my problem is working for, I have a problem with my people believing so much in nonprofit as a way to better the community or even to, so I feel like, in other words, we're kind of teaching our kids that you support or build an agency that's not a business. It's not supporting itself, it's not building revenue, and it creates a lot of dependency. So I guess my question is, or I'm hoping to learn more about, how do we look at our nonprofit ideas, our wanting to help, our passions in the community in a business way?
Social entrepreneurism, and I'm gonna let Frank chime in on that, is really something that's really happening a lot. And it's like, it's a nonprofit that has a great idea. They want to get the community involved to start a business. I'm a nonprofit, and I may want to get some youth involved, and I'll bring them in and I'll show them how to start some businesses. You know, so it's just not me. As an entrepreneur or corporation, that's strictly profit driven. And a social entrepreneurism is profit driven as well, but yet it is working in the community to uplift a basic community to help the community rise, and at the same time creating business opportunity. And I'm going to let Mr. Frank Tucker of Tucker Technology to add to that and make some more comments.
Thank you. Whether it's for-profit or non-profit, an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur. So you got to get out there and really hustle and focus on running the business, no matter what the structure is. But now let's take a look at the for-profit environment. For 20 years, I've run a for-profit business, started right here in Oakland, right up the block here in West Oakland on 19th and Market, and then we migrated to downtown. As a for-profit entity, people figured, well, it should just be cutthroat. It should just be all about making money. And you're damn right, you better make money, no matter how you're set up. But now, the social responsibility that you mentioned, as your business ramps up, as you create employment opportunities, that's where your commitment to your community must come in. You got to say, hey, I could bring in workers from elsewhere, but what's here in my own backyard? And if it isn't here, how do I develop it? Personally, I got involved in Oakland's Workforce Investment Board. And through that, we made sure that we started to grow our own. We started to take technicians, people who came in as general laborers. The only skill they had was the ability to climb a ladder, and they weren't colorblind, so they could discern the color coding of cable. These men and women today are pulling down $70 to $100 an hour as fiber optic and cell tower technicians, because they've migrated from non-skilled general laborers to skilled technicians. So there should always be a mixture of your business responsibility of making money. You're in it to bring in the dough, but then also to serve your community by creating the employment opportunities and making sure that you do it in your own backyard first.
All right, thank you. And I want to have Mr. Turner to add to that, then I'm going to take a couple of questions.
Well, I just wanted to say, just because it's nonprofit doesn't mean you don't make money. So nonprofits also make money. Just a little commercial on Turner Group Construction. We started about 7 years ago in Oakland. It's a family-based business. My brothers, my sister, we all run this company. We made $25,000 our first year. So you have to be passionate about what you're doing, because if you're not, you're gonna give up. So you gotta keep going. What we did was this. We learned who the leaders are in the community. We learned what boards we needed to be on. Like Frank said, he ran the Workforce Investment Board. On that board is a lot of other successful business people that you want to know, that you can tap into that knowledge. And once you kind of get into that circle, then you start building your business. Turner Group Construction, we are on Kaiser down here on Broadway. Been there for 2 years. We're in Kaiser at Redwood City. Been there for a year. We did the San Francisco Airport for 3 years. We are building La Escalita Downtown Educational Center. We just finished Highland School in East Oakland. We're born and raised here in Oakland. Our business, our office is right over here on Filbert, but it took some time. You have to get a relationship with the bank. So whatever bank you're dealing with, Start asking them how to help us grow. We just bought a building on Hagenberger. You know Hagenberger and where Denny's is, right behind it. We bought that building last year, and we're refurbishing it right now. Trying to start what most people would call an incubator for other businesses. We're starting like a business accelerator, so other businesses can come in there. If they can afford $400 a month, we have an office for them. If they can only rent space for an hour, for a week, for a day, we have that. So you got to tap into your community, the leaders, to see how you can build your business.
Okay, I got a couple of questions and I'm gonna ask people, I know people are raising their hands, little work here. We got a sign-up sheet that we failed to get started earlier. It's coming around, there's 3 of them. Please put your name, phone number, email address, so that we can all stay connected. As Kimberly spoke about earlier, Black Link, it's very important that, you know, can you imagine that all of us who are in this room and we got this esteemed panel talking about all this various information, that we can stay connected and keep driving the information and resources from this workshop? That's what we need to do. So we need you guys to, in a legible way, put your contact information down so we can stay connected. Who was that first question? There was this lady and this gentleman right here.
My name is Yolanda Lewis, and I'm really excited to see so many people in this room today, but we need action. And we talk about future, and we do have to be realistic about things. The young lady asked about how do I set my goals. Look at the annual report for some of the corporations. You'll see what they're going to be doing. But I'm the president of the Black Economic Council, and so many times we leave places and we get excited and motivated, but at the end of the day, tomorrow we still broke. So we need to take advantage. We have a wealth of information and knowledge on this panel. How do we take advantage of what you learned so that these people don't have to make those same mistakes? We have free workshop series next week, Wednesday, sole source contracting. I'm going to talk about how I got a contract for $400 for the government, and my largest contract was over $40,000 because I learned the steps, and I want to teach that to the people so that we can change it. We need to make those connections. And you talk about a nonprofit. I started a for-profit. It's called the V Coalition, Black Equal Equity, promoting equity for victims of U.S. sanctioned enslavement. And this gentleman sitting right next to me, since August to December of last year, filled 155 jobs in East Oakland with people who have been incarcerated, people that have been unemployed for a long period of time. We need to take this past today and talk about the big picture. We need to give these young people something they can do today. We need action. And this man dedicates and has sacrificed his life. And I know that things don't happen tomorrow and today, but we need to we starve them. We lose our homes. We need something we can do right now. And there are things we can do right now. We can share information and knowledge. And I want to see some of that happen. I don't want to leave here today and tomorrow be talking about this. Elaine Brown's talking about the Black Panther Party before most people were born. We need to take steps, and we need to do it now. We need to not leave this room without an action plan, and there are things that can be done.
I totally 100% agree with her, and that's one of the reasons why we want to be sure we stay connected, we passing this information around. We have a site that we have, blacklink.com, and that's exactly what we plan on doing. I'm going to have Eric make a comment, and then, sir, you got the next question.
People may not like this, but I'm going to talk about what I know. I know tech. Go get rich and then go give money away. So what do I mean by that? There's K4, Mitch K4. Cedric is here from the K4 Foundation. K4 is rich, and what does he do now? He gives back, and he gives money to people who want to learn how to do STEM research and whatnot. Bill Gates, what does he do? He gives back money, but he's rich first. So yeah, do your nonprofit thing. I'm getting rich first, and then I'll give back. I'm from Richmond. I went to Dartmouth. I went to Wharton. I have 2 master's degrees from Ivy League school, but I wasn't supposed to be anything, right, being from Richmond. But I'm about money, and I give back after that. So, and I invest in companies, right? So the companies I invest in right now, I know what it takes to be successful, and that passion is the biggest part of it. But the bottom line, though, is go out and make some money, and then go give that away. And one way to do that is what KG mentioned. There's a lot of people out there. I have companies right now they have $150,000 to pay for somebody to work for them. They can't find anybody. So I spend part of my day looking for somebody to help fill these jobs. And what is it? It's tech. Go out and learn how to code Ruby on Rails, and I can get you a job today, yesterday, and make 150 grand right now. Kids are coming out of college right now making graduate school out of college making 150 grand, and we can't fill them. But we don't know how to code, right? Because nobody understands tech, and nobody, and getting into it now is way late. I've been in it since 99, 2000. You guys heard of a company called Zappos.com. I was one of the original investors in Zappos, right? So, and the guy that did it is now worth $800 million. I knew him when he was 22. There's a second company he sold. The first one was sold for $280 million. So what does he do? Code. And who codes in here? Exactly. Go code. 2 people. Go learn how to code. You can do Code Academy. There's a Starter League. They teach you how to code. Go learn the language. And if you can't code, you can do biz dev. And I've got 20 companies in my portfolio that I've invested in that I can hire you in right now.
KG and Lynn want to make a couple of comments. Brother, I haven't forgotten about you.
How many of you young people are into art? What I was speaking about before was mathematics. Now it's art. How many of you are into art?
Art? Who's into art?
Art. Drawing, painting. Okay. So in the technology world, I mean, I'm looking for people now to hire in something called UX or user interface design. That's art. There aren't people out there. I mean, there are thousands of companies in California alone that cannot find artists because the artists have not, in our community, have not gone into that kind of thing. I've only met one guy in Silicon Valley so far who's a black designer.
All right, Lynn, and then you for sure. Lynn, I'm going to go ahead.
All right, so two things. I just wanted to piggyback on something that Eric was talking about. So making money is one thing, and we definitely all want to do that. But, okay, all right, sorry. So, all right.
We're going to project. We don't have one. We're going to project.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna try to speak. I'm gonna try to speak out. Okay, all right. All right, I'm gonna try to speak out. So, I said there's 2 things that I want to talk about. I want to piggyback on what Eric was talking about. And we all want to make money, and that's true, we do. But we have a lot of knowledge in here, like the young lady said. And if someone wanted to shadow us, then that would be good. So one of the action items, if somebody wants to be in construction, then they could shadow me or one of my brothers or my sister, you know, so that they can do that. If they want to be in technology, maybe they can shadow Eric or someone on this panel. We have a lot of individuals that I'm seeing out here in this audience. George McDaniels, I don't see where he is, but he's retired from Wells Fargo. And all he does is generate money. He generates money for developers. We need to take advantage of these kinds of people, and it helps you, because if I had been able to shadow some people 7 years ago, it would have saved me a lot of money and a lot of heartache. So that's all I'm really saying is try to match up with someone here or someone in the community that's doing what you like to do and what you want to do.
Okay, thanks. Now, gentlemen, this gentleman's been waiting to ask the question for a while.
Good morning. First of all, thank you all for coming in today to talk about business and technology. We as black folks are consumers. We drive Facebook, we drive Twitter, we drive trends, we drive culture. And specifically to E. Moore in terms of how do we get in on the ground floor of these 20-year-olds, these 18-year-olds, clocking 20 million on an idea, 25 million. Like, how are we as black people missing the divide in technology? That big gap that's going on right now in terms of folks getting paid and coming out of college, and we're missing the boat. And so how do we get plugged in regards to our youth who can create some of these apps on these phones, right? Because these phones are now driving technology. So how do we get plugged into that, and how do we get a piece of that money, man?
Okay, let me just say this. I would love to be here all day. We should be. But, we got a limited amount of time for this workshop. We got a limited amount of time for questions and answers. But I do, and I know these 2 young ladies have been waiting to ask a question. And I know there's some folks who would like to answer your question, because that's a loaded question, and we need to know how to do that. And we can all be rich. So let me get you first, really quick, and then go ahead.
One thing I was going to say is that I think it's the way we think and the language that we speak when we're talking about business ideas, technology. The language that you're using, just by the ideas that you guys have mentioned, I already have 4 business plans. I don't know nothing about what you do. You know what? I do know artists, and I could manifest that in a professional way to market it to you. And all you need to let me know is what it is you need. So therefore, I feel like we need to be more innovative, just see what we're good at, and give ourselves that quality and praise ourselves at what we're good at.
So you follow up with these folks after it's over. Sir, go ahead, loud, please.
I don't have a question, I have a statement. First, I'd like to commend all of these young people here. That's encouraging, and evidently they're going in the proper direction. As far as the sister up there, what she's really talking about is strategy, vision, and planning. Strategy and vision is all important, and the connections are close. And in conclusion, I would like to, it got away from me, but let me just say to the young people out here, when you're looking for relationships in life, there are 2 qualities that you should look for, to everybody really. Those 2 qualities are trustworthiness, it's got to be on a 2-way street, and respect. Well, common courtesy, respect, regard. I'm not going to ask you for your love or your thoughtfulness, but give me those 2, and I can build a castle to the sky, and so can you.
Okay, thank you. So we got a question over here. Yes, go ahead, really fast. All right. Stand up. Really fast. We're running out of time. Come on.
My question is, I'm looking to open a school and foundation in Sudan, and one of the steps that I took in 2011 was to get my citizenship. Okay. So my question is, I need help with a business plan, and I need help building a team of people. I'm looking to start some of the grassroots work here and take that out there and teach it to my community out there.
Okay, let me just, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Ali Al-Rashid, is he here? Ali Al-Rashid is one of the facilitators. He has agreed to work with anybody on their business plan for free. All right, so get his, Kimberly has some information.
3 or 4 people.
Well, 3 or 4, I'm sorry. Did I say anybody? I meant only 3 people. But he would do that, okay? Ali Al-Rashid, we have his contact. Yes, ma'am, really fast.
Talking about needing coding knowledge. There's an internet school that's free. It's sort of like Khan Academy, and they will teach you coding for free.
All right, great. Michael,
Same thing.
really fast.
The community, coders community for every October, and also the www 3 site will teach you coding for free.
Sean.
Yeah, just a second. My name is Sean Kennedy. I created a media outlet called Good News in Oakland 3 years ago. Some of the things that we've done is I've become a board member, like you said, the Cultural Affairs Commission. I did the first deal for, with media, with Cumulus Radio, where we now have our show on KGO Radio. Now we're shopping the deal, and we're possibly going to have a talent agent, Paradigm, who's going to help us get pitch deals with BET networks and so forth and so on. We created over $14 million worth of good impressions for Oakland through the talent that we've had on our show. We're at the point right now where we need to have money to move forward. We've done a lot of different things. We've created deals. We're on the internet. We have over 10,000 fans. We have over 1 million views, and we have the attention of the public. But we're at a point right now that we have tons of things coming at us, but we need to grow. We've talked to banks. We've talked to a few venture capitalists and angels. what can we do to move forward? We're already going. We already have deals in place.
All right, thanks. Who wants to answer the question? Okay.
I can talk to you offline.
All right, let's talk offline. All right, we got to move. We've been told that we're running behind. Kimberly, what's our next question for our panelists?
Our next and last question.
Next and last question. Now remember, before she says that, one of the things that this gentleman said right here, which I believe in completely, and it's so important, and that is building relationships. I mean, if you don't build relationships, one thing that I found is that people who I do business with, they know me, and they like me, right? I mean, I recall a job I had years ago. I was selling some advertising, and this guy that was training me says, James, you will not get a sale unless the people like you. You know, if they don't like you, if they don't know you, and then they have, you know, and they don't like you, you will not get the sale. So everybody needs to build a relationship with everybody on this panel. I don't care how long it takes. Don't let them leave. If they run out of cards, write it on a piece of paper. I'm serious. You gotta build relationships. And people have to like you. You gotta have a good attitude. You gotta smile. You gotta be respectful. You have to, you know, I mean, come on. I don't care if you already got a job. Most people want to grow, develop, get to the next level. You gotta build relationships. That's what networking is about. You know, go places and be appropriately dressed. Be respectful. Shake people's hand. You gotta do the basics, okay? Next question, Kim.
Okay, what type of workforce development does our community need? How do we make the present workforce development efforts work for our community?
All right. Want that, Charles? No, you don't?
Yeah,
I thought he was asking me to come in. Come on, man, I want that. Go ahead.
I believe that the basic workforce development that can be done is to focus on the schools, right? Whatever we say, everyone in this panel, everyone out there in the audience, gentlemen over there, it took time to get to the level of success that they have. They prepared for it. I had a foundation that, by the way, was funded by Cedric over there, that worked with young black men. And one of the things that I noticed was that everyone wanted to be a basketball player, a football player, a hip-hop artist. And we look at these guys and we say, okay, these guys earned the cash, they all earned the dough. But I did not see any one of my boys, and I had 150 of them, that actually I had one, that practiced basketball as if he wanted to get to the NBA, right? So we need to understand that we need to prepare whatever we want to do. You know, guys, you know, one of the black guys that I was working with down at Stanford left Stanford with a mathematics degree, went into business, or went in to start working for an investment bank, starting out at $228,000. He's 22 years old. Now, 2 years later, he's earning more than NBA players, right? He took no risk of injury, nothing. So I think that we need to understand that school is actually a path. And whatever we do, if we are incompetent, nobody will hire us. Let's start there, right? So the lady with the yellow skirt, I don't know where she is. We need to really understand that everything starts with preparation. And since we are talking to young people right now, we need to prepare as young people, because you guys can be more successful than any of us have been if you prepare for it, because people have led the way.
All right, I want to ask Frank Tucker. Frank, how do we, that's the same question, what type of workforce development does our community need? How do we make the present workforce development efforts work in our community?
Sure. I've chaired Oakland's Workforce Investment Board under the Jerry Brown administration, and have sat on the board for over 10 years. What we need to do through Oakland's WIB, Oakland's Workforce Investment Board, and through all of the job training programs like the one that Mr. Shanks is available with, is to take our existing resources, and our existing resources are all of you in the room, as well as the people you passed on the corner on your way walking here. The men and women who aren't working, but are living, breathing, have their labor and their minds to offer. And what we do is we take a look at what work is going on in our community, what work is going on in the world. I just introduced to Oakland's WIB, to Oakland's Workforce Investment Board, a plan to take a look at that foreign call center. When you call up and you get an agent in India or another part of the world, and say, let's analyze what it really costs to do business over there, what toll that takes on us here, right here in Oakland, right here in our neighborhood. Why don't we develop our workforce to be able to feel that call? Why don't we have our folks who now understand the same culture and who need the job answer that call, and now have the multiplier effect of, rather than having that money spent in Mumbai, having that money spent in East Oakland, that money spent in West Oakland. Why don't we create a business here, or a variety of businesses, in things such as the business incubators that we have. My business started as a technology business 20 years ago in a business incubator in Oakland, and grew from a 3-person company to a 200-person multi-state company. We got to keep our focus on those type of opportunities of utilizing the human resource that we have right here at home, and getting aggressive of putting pressure on our public officials, on our institutions here in Oakland, on our government institutions, and say, hey, we don't want to open up Black Enterprise and say all the businesses in the Black Enterprise 100 are somewhere else. How come there's not a single business here in Oakland on that list? We got to get aggressive.
We're going to go with Cynthia, and then, okay, Cynthia.
So I just wanted to add again, I'm talking to the young people, and I'm talking to the gentleman who asked about the digital divide. What we can do today, the internet is designed to self-educate. And a lot of our community wants to have a class. They want to have a workshop. There is nothing that you can't Google. I had a phone number on my cell phone, typed in the phone number on Google, and found out who the person was. Okay, so if you have an interest in any particular thing, coding, I've coded lit. I don't code. I did it before, that's not my thing. I would like to see more of our people in the healthcare industry. It'd be nice to see a Black doctor occasionally when you go into an institution. So science, technology, engineering, and math. If you have an interest, if you like doing numbers, you can learn things on the internet. There are videos. The second thing is, we are in the belly of the beast. I am 52, and I go to the Silicon Valley, and I still don't see Black people at their meetings that are free. So I invite you, if you would like to go to an event in the Valley and you are nervous, get my number, come with me. Because they are having an issue about having more people of color coming into the Valley and qualifying for their jobs. Many of these things are just free. They want you to come. Identify people from your neighborhood, in your class, in your job. Pick a thing, Google Hackathon, where you can meet people and code, and you can just have an idea. You don't even have to know how to code. And go to these events and start building your base, your team, as the woman mentioned earlier, from there.
Before I take a question, where is my sign-in sheets?
It's right here. It's right here.
Where? I want them. And who hasn't signed up on it? Oh my God! Get some more paper over here, get these folks signed up. Everybody needs to fill in that sign-in sheet. Young lady, I'm gonna ask you to, I know you've been wanting to ask a question, but I want the sign-in sheet signed. We locking the doors. I'm telling you, if you don't sign up, and look, it's gonna be your loss. Because we getting ready to hook this up. And you want to hook up? Put your name on that sign-in sheet. All right, your question, fast, please. Okay.
How do we get Black males like you guys down there to come to the elementary school and do some work with elementary kids? These guys are almost too late. You know what I'm saying about changing some behaviors and just, I used to be a parole officer, and I'm gonna tell you. Kids who want to be basketball players, I want to workshop. There are only 12 men on the basketball team. Everybody, all you guys out there doing basketball and all that, think about it, only 12 guys on the team. That's not really, you know, for everybody a feasible job. But they start in elementary school with these hopes and these dreams, and they don't have black males coming and mentoring. I'm in Berkeley schools, I've been trying to get someone to come and talk. But some of these little guys start in elementary school because that's the foundation. Okay. How do you get someone to come and begin to get them to start focusing on those educational needs?
Art's going to respond to you. We come out to every entity that invites us over with the Cypress Mandela Training Center, where we come out, we talk about apprenticeship programs, and we put students directly, when they complete our program, directly to work with either Frank Tucker or Lynn Turner's group and other construction agencies. And again, getting kids back to the basics is really what we're talking about. I heard a couple of questions that went around and they were saying, well, we could do this, we need to put more pressure on government. No, we need to put more pressure on the parents to get their kids to school and to make them proficient. So if you call us, we'll come out to any organization anytime. We're going to talk to you about how to get kids into our program, which our program does is have a life skill component. We're going to talk about drugs, toxic relationships. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about work decor. And then we're going to put you through a regiment program to teach you about all the principal trades. And you can choose what trades you want to go into. It's 16 weeks long. After you leave our program, after you graduate in 16 weeks, you're placed directly into employment, starting between $18 and $22 an hour.
Okay, all right, thank you. Cedric from Barrier Blacks in Philanthropy, give a comment on this.
Right quick, and the Mitchell Capeland Foundation. So I work with a guy who is a multimillionaire. He was a contemporary of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, multi-millions from tech investment. And as others on the panel have said, I want to challenge all of the young folks in here today to go to codeacademy.com. It's free, it's online, check it out. This is one thing that the woman here was asking about, things you can do today. You can do this today. You can start today moving to a path where your economic and social mobility will be greater. You can make money from doing this code, from learning this coding. Codeacademy.com.
And Black Girls Code.
And Black Girls Code.
Okay, all right. Did everybody get that? Codeacademy.com and blackgirlscode.com. If you don't want to do it, pass it to somebody. Pass it to, give it to somebody. Give it to a young girl or a young man. It might fascinate them. This young lady had her hand up forever. Quiet, we're not done. Please give some respect. Hold on. We're going to try to get to it. We're going to try to get to it. Yeah, they're there. They're old school. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, give this woman some respect. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tara Johnson. I started a nonprofit in Oakland on 190. And so I really love to see these young people here. One thing I do want to, I wanted to say this, I'm speaking to you. I want to thank you guys for coming. But I wanted to speak to you about how I see nobody taking notes. They just gave you guys a wealth of information. You guys may have not done it in this one, but please, for the next session, make sure you guys write down the names of the panel. You don't have to get anything else. Trust me, these are such knowledgeable people. You can Google their name and all the information will come up. You may not use it today, but you'll use it one day. So in the next session, make sure you tap in. Make sure you at least write down one thing. And I want to say that Sheila mentioned you guys are too late. It's never too late. It's just you're never too late. I went back to school and I graduated from Berkeley, and I think in 2010 is when I graduated. It's never too late. So I really want you guys to just make sure you own that as well.
All right, thanks. All right, young man, whose works up there? You guys, I'm gonna give you guys some. Go ahead. And speak out loud. Go ahead. Quiet. Please. Go ahead.
And I want to know, like, what kind of degrees.
Hold on, stop over. Please.
I'm a student at McCombie High School in West Oakland, and I want to know, like, what kind of degree that you have to have to start your own business.
Any degree.
You don't need to graduate. You don't need to.
degree. But the fact of the matter is, we have very successful entrepreneurs who did not finish college. So you have to identify your passion and look for the degree program that supports that passion. And then I recommend getting that degree. It can only help you. But there are a lot of people who did not finish their degree program, to be accurate.
Okay, young man, you're next. Go ahead.
Speak up. How much time you guys took in open your own business?
Okay, hold on. You wanted, was your question, correct me if I'm wrong, how much money does it take to open your own business? How much time? Time and money. Time and money. How much time and money does it take to open your own business? Is that correct? Anybody? Who? Here?
It depends on what you're doing. If you're opening up a restaurant, it takes money to open a restaurant. If you're opening a record label, if you're starting a tech company, it takes $25,000, 50 grand to build a minimal viable product. And I've written checks for 50 grand to people with a business, not even business. We don't, business plan is old school. We don't use business plans anymore. We use a 10-deck slide. So somebody's been in my office, I've given them $50,000 and they've sold their company already within 2 years. So it just depends on what you're doing. If it's tech, it doesn't take much to build a tech company. So 50 grand, 25 grand.
Okay, folks, basically we're out of time, and I'm so sorry. But
Just before that, make sure everybody knows about blacklinking.com.
Right.
To continue the conversation.
Right. So now so who has not written down blacklinkedin.com? If you haven't written that down,